Good afternoon, Nkosi Talk Show's family. It's Nomsa here at Nkosi Talk Show's Find Your Own Voice, lead from within. So with me today, I'm with Dr. Biget. How are you, Dr. Biget?
I'm doing very well, Numsas. It's honored to be here with you. And how are you and how's everyone listening?
Yeah, we all good, thank you. It's half term, and I don't know in the US, is it today Halloween your end as well?
It is.
Oh my goodness. I cannot stand Halloween.
You cannot stand Halloween. That's interesting.
No, because I don't understand what it's all about. Do you celebrate it?
Yet now I celebrate it. I think the way a lot of people uh, celebrate here in the US, which is I'm sure there are a lot of different significance in it, but the way I celebrate is simply participate in giving the kids candy when they come by.
So you are part of those houses where you have candy. You got to have candy ready.
Yeah, yeah, I see it that the kids put in the effort, right? And the parents of these children put in the effort of being able to have fun in their way, and fun is good, and fun is very healing for a grieving heart, and and therefore I just honor them with a couple little pieces of candy. It's perhaps not the best moment for their teeth, but or their body in general. But sometimes it's good to have fun anyway, and enjoy the cute outfit that they have. So.
Yeah, I don't celebrate Halloween, but my children they go out, but I think it's just for candy. They dress up and go out to get some sweeties and stuff. But I'm sure in the US, I think you guys you make a big effort. It's big.
Yeah, I think a lot of people they have a lot of changes over times though. Most of the children now they go to allocated locations for this
All
rather than
right.
it's good for the parents, it's good for their safety, like the mall, I believe. I might actually go to the mall just to take a look. The mall, I believe, to do something like this, and it still keep the spirit, still keep the fun, and do it in safer and more organized way. But things change over time, like everything in life.
Yeah, things do change. Things do change. You got to put their safety first as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's get into the topic today. So the topic is legacy beyond the loss, continuing their story through you. Grief doesn't end a story. It invites a new chapter. This episode today is going to be a gentle, powerful reminder guided to transform loss into a living legacy. So you will learn practical faith-rooted, psychologically sound steps to honor loved ones' values, perceive their wisdom, and carry their light forward without bypassing your own healing. From building remembrance rituals, beginning purpose projects, this is a roadmap for turning pain into purpose and love into lasting impact. So, we will talk about how to honor grief without rushing it, ways to extract values, lessons, and blessings from your loved one's life, practical rituals, project and services, ideas that extend their influence, boundaries, guilt, and permission to live fully again, and how to design your personal legacy plan you can sustain. Dr. Bickett, I know this is your field. What do you think about the topic?
I think it's a very important and it's a very good topic, Numsa. Thank you. And yes, as a grief specialist and recovery coach, and grief healing coach, it is very important and very useful because there is a saying that grief is love with no place to go. Many people, there are sayings, and this is everybody's interpretations for grief. In a way, it's there are definitions for grief, such as the Grief Recovery Institute says grief is the unsettled feelings caused by a loss, a change, or unmet hope. But in all of those, when we experience grief, the definitions of grief suddenly change to fit you. And at the same time, across the board, if we see it, it seems that grief is when there is love. If you don't love something, you will not grieve. In other words, for example, you could have two neighbors, one on each side of where you're living, but you have a very nice, beautiful relationship, close friendship with one, and then the other one, you being good neighbor, and now you just say hi properly, help each other if you need. The one who you have close relationship to decide to move away, you will be sad, you will miss that one. On the other hand, the one that you have proper relationship to but not close, you don't hang out, you don't chat, they move away, you might say, oh, they've been good neighbor. Moving forward, uh, that's okay. Somebody else will move in there, and hopefully it'll be somebody that's decent as well. And so there is love involved when there is grief, and and it is helpful in you in healing, as well as it is honoring to the loved one, to your loved one, when you turned it into legacy. And so it is very helpful, and it is very important and very good to be able to create a legacy. Now, I want to clear up right away. When we say legacy, many people think about creating something grand, something magnanimous, creating a foundations across the that operate across the whole uh, world. For instance, legacy does not have to be that way. Yes, it could be that way, but it could be something simple and heartfelt.
I like that, Dr. Bickett, when you give the example of two neighbors, that they could be like a grieving, it could be maybe one neighbor moves away and you're like, oh, it's one of those days, let them go. You just let them go like that, and the other one that leaves, and then you're left to grieve for the loss, because you know that because we have different relationships with people. There are people that we get closer to. There are some that we just see them, we love them, but we see them each and every single day. There are some that they actually play a very important part in our lives, and people come and go as well. And you also mentioned that the grief could be unmet hope as well. It's not just because people, when you talk about grief, people think grief is just death only. So I love that. When you acknowledge the path of mourning and meaning making, sometimes people feel that they have to finish the grieving before they begin the legacy work, but you don't have to. Give yourself permission, like Dr. Bigot said, to move between tears and building, and remembrance and rest reduces shame, and if there is pressure to be over it, honoring that person, I think that is important, just to go with the flow and allow yourself to grieve, allow yourself, yeah, to grieve. I think that is really, really important. For me, there are some people that I grieve for, like you described, but there are some people that I just let them go. I just send them off, and I'm like, we'll see each other. People come and go. So you just have to, it's one of those people that you know that, yeah, people come and go, and we'll meet again on the other side, because this world is a small world. So you meet people, they go, and then you meet them again. So yeah, it's a small world.
And I want to make it clear for all of us listening. Sometimes we feel guilty for not grieving. And just know that there is no need for that. Sometimes everybody different, and our feelings change moment to moment. Even somebody whom you grieve dearly, at some point you might say, okay, I'm not grieving that much today, and it's okay. There are people whose loved ones, say a significant other or parents or children passed away, and you feel relief instead of, you feel more of the relief than the sadness. But this is very common for people who has, if the person has been going through some challenging time for quite a bit of time. For instance, the person's been ill, whether physically or mentally, or something, you say to her, you know what, I'm relieved. It's caretaker experience this a lot, and that is okay. And so it's not that you are not a good person if you're not grieving as much, whether it's your neighbor or your family member.
Yeah, I think what you're saying, Dr. Bigot, it does happen a lot when people feel guilty when they are not grieving for people. Like for me, before I started cleansing, I used to really feel hurt when someone goes, when someone dies, or if I have to separate with people, I'll be like, this person has been part of my life. How am I going to live without them and things like that? But now I I'm no longer grieving that way anymore. I'm like, okay, I have to accept that this is what it is. People come into our lives and they have to create their own lives. They have to move on. And when they move on, it does not mean that is the end of us seeing those people. We're going to see them again. So I have to, but before I used to find it really, really difficult. Even the grieving used to be really, really heavy. But now I don't grieve heavily. I grieved like when I lost my dad. I grieved heavily with my stepdad. But when my stepmother died, I just accepted it. I was like, this is what it is. Seems like we were going that way. We were all gonna meet each other someday. So I just had to accept it
Yeah, yeah,
and just find the healing through. How do you live? Like, how do you, like, some people may struggle, Dr. Bigot. What advice can you give someone? How do you move forward, live without those that you love? Like, let's say, because sometimes the memories that hurt the most are the good ones. Good memories are the ones that hurt the most when you think about them and that person is no longer there anymore.
yeah. A great question, Numsa, and a couple of things with that. Firstly, I love that you use the words move forward instead of get over it. It's one of my pet peeve as a grief specialist that people said, "Ah, yeah, well, how come you don't get over it yet?" It's like, excuse me, you don't get over grief, just like you don't get over your loved one. You will forever love your loved one if you choose to. You don't have to, but if you choose to, you can forever love your loved one, and you do not, when there is a very impactful loss that leads to grief, you, if you experience that, you will be changed forever as well. And at the same time you can choose how you are changed. You can become depressed forever. You can become bitter forever if, let's say, this is a divorce or some a betrayal of some sort. or even certain type of experience, you can become wiser forever, and you could also be changed and become more resilient, as well as creating a legacy for your loved one. And so the word move forward is much more appropriate, that which is what you do, Numsa, because it is something where you experience this, you are changed, you're no longer the same persons before this happened, but you're choosing. And also the word move forward carry in it, it implies that you're choosing, you're taking the step to move forward. And I hear you, and it is very true typically that the most beautiful memories are the one that hurt the most. And so how would you be able to do it? Well, there is if it still hurt greatly, then you're still grieving. And that means you still have the opportunity to heal more. If it still hurt, if you think about something and it still make your eyes tears up, if you think about something beautiful and it still feel like somebody just crushed your heart, if a memory come to you and it make you feel like somebody just punch your belly and twist them, then you still have opportunity to release the pain in your moving forward. Again, it's not getting over, and depending on their definitions of healing, then it might not be 100% healing, but because you might have the scar forever. You might have the scar forever, but you can release the pain. Is it possible to release the pain? Yes. I have helped countless of people, tens of thousands of people release the pain. Now, there are perhaps certain special time in your life. It's a special anniversary, it's something that, oh, that would have been 80 years old today, that would have been 85, would have been 90. Oh, your significant other and it could have been the 25th anniversary, the 30th anniversary. That those still hurts, just like if you have a deep scar from time to time, that scar still hurt. If you Anybody who has broken bone, fully break, you know that when the weather change and you exert yourself at the same time, sometimes it still ache a little bit. I broke my arm long time ago, many decades ago, and for the first many decades, when the weather changed and I also exert myself on the particular arm, it still ache a little bit, and it's okay. But you're not in pain every day because you release the pain. And how you do that? If you've been going through this and you're still feeling a lot of pain, and you actually do want to be in less pain because it's much more honoring to your loved one and yourself, and both of you deserve it, is by asking for help. There's a lot of resource out there. There's a lot of help, but it is something that you go and do in step by step and systematic manner. The pain's not gonna go away on its own.
I like that, Dr. Pickett, when you say you might have the scar forever, but you can release the pain. I think that is really, really, really important for people to, like what you're saying, that scar might be there. We cannot remove that mark, that whatever has happened, we can't remove it, but we can choose how we respond for our tomorrow, how our tomorrow is going to look like. We either honor those memories and celebrate the times that you had with that loved ones. For me, what helps me is actually connecting with God more and understanding that when their loved ones, when they die, they go to a better place. And that better place for them, one day we will meet again and celebrate that when souls meet up. So that helps me a lot because I used to really be in pain, like, how am I gonna live without my dad? Actually, I didn't know how to move forward. I
Yeah.
didn't know how to live without him not being around. But then I realized even though I have my mom, you can't replace a parent. My mama has a place in my heart where no one can replace her. And my dad also has this place in my heart that no matter how hard I try, I wouldn't be able to replace her. But I had to work on my scars and realizing that that scar, like you say, is always going to be here, but is how do I respond moving forward, creating a legacy. But I realize that actually my father prepared me to be the person that I am today. So he knew that someday he's not going to be around. So he had to coach me. So I had to look to the good side moving forward, and also embracing and letting his soul go, because I knew that if I hold him in my heart, that means I'm holding his soul. So I had to just release his soul and release him and just say, God is in your hands. You can look after him, and really understanding that how the spirit works and stuff. But there are souls that are here on earth that are suffering. But there are souls, because I had to check if my dad is here. So I had to check. But I've not come across his soul, so which is good. Um, so yeah, I think you just have to release, like you're saying, and that scar. But when it comes to, I know there's some people who don't take grief very well, but I think I'm one of those people that did not take grief very well. So, what advice can you give someone? Because other people, they tell me that they've grieved and nearly they took their own lives as well. So, what advice can you give someone who is in that state? Because I personally don't think our loved ones want us to grieve that way, but I think we do. But what advice can you give someone, let's say, who've lost their parents and maybe their husband, their wife, partner, spouse, and they really don't know how to move forward and start again? Because some people, they have that problem. So as
Yeah.
a coach, what can you give them?
S- Great questions. And firstly, I want to say that everybody do grieve differently. When people truly are grieving, yes, a lot of time it's something where you are happy for them, but you're still grieving. So in other words, let's say particularly your loved one has been uncomfortable in one way or another, where you where they're no longer now they're no longer uncomfortable apparently, and it is something where many people will tell you, oh, at least your parent or your significant others no longer uncomfortable. And I hear you, and I can only imagine how you feel if you are deeply grieving and somebody tells you that, because it can be the most painful thing to hear. Why it's painful? Because you feel that you are being dismissed, that your feeling are not being heard, HEARD, and your feeling are being dismissed by somebody who are telling you that. And I hear you, and my heart goes out to you, because yes, you probably are happy for them that they are no longer uncomfortable, and at the same time it does not make you grieve any less, isn't it? It you still hurt just as much, because you would rather them continuing to be here but comfortable. If they're not comfortable, you say, well, yeah, I'm happy that they're not they are no longer uncomfortable, but I much rather they are being here and comfortable somehow, somewhere, you know. Many people come to me and say, you know, people talk about God, so why didn't God make them comfortable and keep them here? Which is a very valid question. So sometimes you notice as you're grieving that your mind can process certain things, or they are no longer uncomfortable. Oh, you know, it is for the best of all, whatever it is, and your heart still grieving, and this is okay, this is perfectly normal, and that's because you love deeply. You don't love with your head, you love with your heart. And this is why in your mind you could say, oh, you know, this makes sense, and you still are screaming. Your mind could say, people are, if you look at the definitions of grief, trauma is part of includes grief. Grief definition is the unsettled feelings caused by a change, unmet hope, and a loss. When you have trauma, you have loss of safety and you have unmet hope. Nobody wants to have trauma in their life, and usually a sudden change of something. And even if the trauma, let's say, is you got hit by a double trailer while you're driving, that's loss of safety, unmet hope, being able to save that drive safely, and sudden change. You're driving and you got hit, and so eh, for examples in trauma or something, your mind might say, I understand, I do not need to be scared anymore, I understand, I don't need to be angry anymore, or something like that. And at the same time you still react, and that's because trauma and grief affected your heart and your body a lot, just as much as, and a lot of time, a lot more than your rational mind. Now, how do you move forward if you are grieving deeply to the point that you feel that life is not worth living? How do you continue on? How do you keep waking up the next day? And the answer is to allow support, to allow yourself the support of whatever you need, of whatever it costs you, because what's the other side of that? You forever drowning, you forever crying, and not honoring your loved one and yourself. You continue to suffer. And I'm not saying this because I'm a grief coach. Not everybody has to come to work with me, and nor everybody is suitable to work with me, and nor I have time for every single body. There are plenty of support out there, that even free support. But to allow support, if you are drowning and you don't know how to swim, you can keep saying, I'm gonna try to do this myself, I'm gonna try to do this myself. Sooner than later you'll be drowned. There's nothing else to do. And if you, on the other hand, if you allow support, then you will be able to make it to the shore. And I hear you. If you are in a lot of pain at this moment, you might say, well, I don't know if I want to make it to the shore. I don't know if I want to continue living. Because perhaps your loved one is the last and only thing that you have left. And I hear you. And I can't even begin to imagine the pain that you are in. And my heart truly goes out to you. Let me ask you this. Is dying from grief something your loved one would have want you to do? If you are in this situation, is that honoring to your loved one? Even if you don't care about yourself at this moment, is that how you're going to honor your loved one? Is that something that your loved one would have want you to do? And if the answer to either of those is even a slight uncertainty, even if your answer is not a solid no, then perhaps just explore it again when you are at the shore. you can always jump back in the sea. When you got to the shore, when you are in a better state, you can always say, well, you know what, actually, maybe now that I can think clearly and feel clearly, not in with pain screaming from every part of my body, because that's true grief. Many people say it's not just in my head. Some people say, get over it. So think about something else. Decide to not be painful. They're like, what are you talking about? Decide not to be painful. Every part of my body is hurting. And it is as if you got like the worst virus under the sun, and you hurting, you physically hurting. And that in that situations we cannot think clearly. Nobody could. So I hear you if you are in situations where you are in such pain that you feel that you don't want to go on. And I can't even begin to imagine. I can relate, actually. I can relate fortunately and unfortunately to that feelings. But still I can't imagine how you specifically feel. But let me ask you this. Is that what your loved one wants? Is that honoring to your loved one? And if the answer of those is, well, I'm not sure, or maybe yes, maybe not, then what if for now you allow support to get to the shore, if so you don't drown? And then at that time you can decide if what is it that your loved one would want, what is it that really honoring to your loved one. And maybe instead of you drowning, creating a legacy for your loved one, creating something to help him or her be remembered in the way that feel really good for you. And it might it doesn't has to be a huge thing. What I can giving an example of being on the shore, you can go and create. I used to do this. I used to create love mandala. And what is the love mandala? You kind of like, draw a mandala on the sand with literally you don't need anything but your hand, and then put a couple rock in certain way that's honoring. And you can do this once a week, you can do this once a month, you can do this once a year, and you can take picture of it. Most people has a smartphone nowadays, and then you can share it online. These are free things to do. We don't like, when we talk about legacy, many people said, I got to build a company, a foundation, whatever. No, 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 no. You can say, I decided to honor my loved one through a love mandala. That you literally, let's say you are in such a situation, you don't have much with you either. Okay, you can find a stick on the beach and draw a mandala, and each time it will be a little different, but it's honoring, and it's honoring you at that day, that moment, and honoring your loved one. And then this word definitely can benefit from more love. You can take a picture, share it on social media, share it with the next person passing by who is willing to hear you. And imagine how many people will look at that mandala before before the water take it to your loved one. Yeah. So it's not wash away, but the water take the mandala to your loved one. But how many people would see that? And how many people will benefit from that love that you solidify in a mandala? And that could be the legacy that you create.
I like that, Dr. Pickett, when you say talk about the mandala. Um, for us Christians, we do deliverance, like when you're struggling to actually cope with the death of your loved ones, you can go for deliverance to actually let them go. Because sometimes it is, like I said, the memories, mostly when you're close to someone, is when people struggle to let that person go when they are gone. So it's just to let them go and to release, like what you said, to release them. So I think that is really, really important. And also, like you mentioned, that get over it. People seems to think the grieving, like why am I grieving this way? We intended to judge ourselves, like when we're grieving, like my friends, they've never grieved this way. My friend, one of my neighbor lost his dad last year. And he said to me, Nomsa, I don't know how to move forward without him. I said, I'm not sure what you want me to say, but does it get better? Yes, it does get better. Does it get worse? Some days, yes, it will get worse. But you have to know that you are grieving for your father. You're gonna have to take it step by step each day as it comes. There's some days where it's gonna hurt. There are some days where you're gonna celebrate, think about them and smile. So all those things. And I just watched him grieving. He was having good days and bad times. But now he's fine. He is now he's fine. He's like I've come to accept it and things like that. He's going to work and he's doing his normal stuff and stuff. But this is the person that every day, like you'll see him with his dad, going for coffee, and he became his carer. He stopped work and cared for him, and when that person goes, you actually get lost. Like you're like, what do I do? How do I move forward with this? Like now that they're no longer here. So you just have to know that instead of comparing your grief with other people, and just know that it's step by step, like you said, to seek support. Is you can't deal with things on your own. You have to seek support. For me, I don't grieve for people anymore. I just know that they are going to a better place, because before I didn't know how the realm, the physically and the spirit looks like, but now I know that when my loved ones go, they go. But all I have to now worry about is, where are they? Are they in hell or are they in heaven? When my father-in-law died, I took 21 days cleansing his soul. And because I knew that he wasn't going to be here anymore. So I was like, and it happened, my pastor was teaching about how to cleanse the soul for someone. So I took that 21 days and I cleansed his soul, and just like every night, like I wake up at 1 p.m., 1 a.m., until the day he went. By the day when he went, it was then now that energy released his energy, left me sick. And the poor guy, the bugger, just had a cup of tea and he's just he just went. But I didn't feel hurt or anything, because I used to visit him like all the time. Sometimes I would just go and lie down on his bed when he's sleeping. I'll just lie down next to him there and just lie down. I'll be there for 2 hours. I'll be there for an hour. But when he left, I knew that I had spent time with him. I knew that I have got closer to him, and I didn't grieve. I just said, God, he's all yours. My job was done. But I think most of the time where we grieve sometimes is guilty, when we don't spend time with our loved ones a lot. And that's why we feel we should have spent time with our loved ones. Because like with my dad, when my daddy died, before he died, he was like asking me questions. It was like, why this thing? Why am I hearing about this? Me, I have this thing where when I see people doing things, I mind my own business. So my daddy found out something and he was like, how come you and your sister didn't tell me this? So I was like, Why would we spoil our relationship with you by telling you things that are not going to build you or anything? So we're like, he was like, hey, Nomsa, I'm going. He said his own goodbye. And I was in the UK. I couldn't go home because my papers were the home office. I couldn't get closer to say goodbye. I think that's what created too much chaos in my heart. But after that, I think I went to about three psychologists. I didn't even get what they were trying to do with me. They were trying to help me. Honestly, Dr. Bigger, I couldn't get it. Honestly, I couldn't get what they were trying. I went to that one. I had 10 sessions per hour. I would have 10 sessions. And then I went to the second one, 10 sessions. And I couldn't understand what they were talking about, what they were trying to unlock within me. And then I went to the other one. I couldn't understand
And
what
this
they
is
were trying to do.
Yeah, and this is something I hear from practically from a lot of people who come to me, including the psychologists themselves. I have quite a few clients who are therapists and psychologists, counselor and social worker. And this is not that they are not skillful or
Yeah.
something wrong with you, because a lot of time people say gotta be something wrong with me. These are good psychologists, have 5-star rating, and for whatever reason I like you said, I don't even comprehend. It's kind of like, okay, it helped me understand what's going on, but hey, you and I and the psychologist understand what's going on is you're grieving. That's what's going on. You're grieving. This is not a mysterious childhood trauma that need to be solved. Did this happen at this? What happened? There is the bottom line. You are grieving. This is what happened. And this is why, because the model of psychology, the model of therapy is to address your mind, to understand your thoughts. And absolutely it's important. And at the same time, we now grieve involves much more than thought. Nowadays, thanks to modern technology, we understand that grief actually changes your brain. Grief actually changes your whole body, the way the substance, your hormones and everything change. The grief actually changes your nervous system in your whole body, including your heart. It affects how your heart works. It affects how your muscle work. And therefore, addressing just your thought, it can help a little bit for some people, but it's only a part of it. The rest of it is your brain still firing. The rest of it is you are still hurting physically, physically hurting in your chest, physically hurting in your body, and you kind of like, some people say they tell me to think happy things. Okay, I still think happy thing, but my heart still hurts. So if that's that happening, please know it's not the psychologist's fault. It's not your fault either. It's simply you need somebody who understand that and actually able to address everything in a comprehensive manner. And at the same time, not turning you into a zombie either, ideally, because sometimes different people and different healthcare system different, but some people, they're like, okay, you know what, do you want medications? How long do you want to be on the medication? I have nothing against medication. Sometimes we do need them for a brief time. But if you are grieving and then you say, well, okay, the therapy, psychology alone doesn't help, and now you jump on the medication, which is something I did, by the way, and many people do in the past for myself. And then you depend on the medications. You stop the medications, the pain come back. How long do you want to be on the medication? Now, again, that's not completely wrong, but now you know better that there are other options, including creating legacy for your loved one. And if you don't know what to do, as we said before, seek support. There's plenty of support everywhere in this digital age.
Yeah, for me, when I left the psychologist, I was like, I couldn't. And then I got home. I was like, I'm gonna fast. I fasted for 40 days. I was like, I'm just gonna work on my fast. But then when I was fasting, it was then I was cleansing my mind, cleansing my body, and cleansing my heart as well, because it was my heart where I didn't know. Because for me, with my dad, even if I go to bed, his voice just when he speak from a very young age, if I hear his voice, I'm up. If I go to bed without him being at home, I have to get up and eat food with him, and then I'll go back to bed. But now he's no longer there. How do I? It was then me to say, how do I move forward without him? And I even imagining going home and he's not there. So I was like, how am I gonna move forward with this? Even with my brother, when I went home, he was like, Nomsa, you had to come home. We are all wondering why you not come home. When you come home, it's like because you and dad, you were like, we want to be free. And I was like, what have I done? They're like, it's you that is holding him. We want him to go. But then when I went home, I realized that I was fine actually. I was like, yeah, he's no longer here, but I was okay. I was fine. Because everyone kept saying, you not being here, that's where the problem is. I was like, no, it's not. But I was fine when I went home. And then I come back and I was like, I realized that my mom was there because the relationship I have with my mom is the same with my dad. But I was like, okay, I'm not going to replace the love that I have for these two, but it's going to be, let me just, but my mom, she knows that even her, I think she was worried, how am I going to survive without him? And but I did make it. Now I don't stress. I tell the story about my dad to my children, how he used to be, and like I tell them who he is and stuff. But I'm no longer worried. My heart is like white as snow. Like when I talk about him, there's no tears or anything. I know he's in a better place. But
Yeah.
to get there is the one thing that I didn't know how.
And everybody do it differently.
Yeah,
You mentioned the fasting of 40 days. Now that's not something that everybody want to do, nor
no,
they want to do
no.
that
But
more
for
on
me, it
physically
was
healthy.
like, okay,
And it's everybody different. The
yeah,
fasting 40 days, what happened is that because you're fasting, it changed your body
yeah,
and it created just as much of an impact in your body. So some people move through grief from it, there's multiple different way. Sometimes something else just as impactful, and in this case, the fasting change your whole biology. When we know this, when you're fasting, your whole biology change, and so you have something happen here. You move it through the fasting, and it changed your biology. Of over time, it changed your way of thinking, and when people fasting, it start changing their perceptions in life and so forth. And that could be one way. There are multiple different way to move. There's never one right way for anybody in when it comes to grief. It is as personal. Grief is as personal as the combination of your fingerprint. I've worked with twins more than once, identical twin. You can't even tell who is who if you don't know them well. And they would have the exact same experience. They witness something, the two of them together. And one person has the experience of ABC, and the other person has the experience of XYZ. And that's how it meant to be. Grief is exactly specific to you. And even just like fingerprint in a way, even if you're grieving, even during the day, you feel different things different times during the day. In the morning, you might be okay. And then in the afternoon, you feel that the world is crashing in. And then in the evening, you might be eh, semi okay. And that's okay. And that is something that is normal. And fasting, sometimes going to religion can help for some people. It make them feel that they suddenly averse to religions. They are angry at God. That does not make you a wrong person. It does not make you a bad person at all. It doesn't make the religions wrong either. It's just you need something different at the moment, and that's okay. Just keep searching. Back to how do you create legacy? It is a very good thing to do. And if you don't know how to release your pain, not get over, but release your pain as much or as little as you want to, because sometimes the pain, as strange as it is, for many people, the pain can be comforting. It's the tie that you have with the one that you no longer here. Many people has this thing of, as long as I'm in pain, I'm still connected to this loved one. But is that the kind of connection that your loved one want to have with you? How about if you replace that pain with legacy? Replace that pain with purpose. So instead of you are continue to be connected with your loved one through pain, let's continue you being connected through with your loved one through something different. How about a legacy of creating something? I have one person who create she know how to crochet or something, and this is the loved one is a dog, and so she decided to crochet a little dog thing. Initially for herself, she make different thing, and then some people said, oh wow, what a great idea, and she's really good, so she can look at the picture and she can make the whatever on the picture. So every time she make one, she does it even just like a side thing for people. Every time she make one, that's how she connect with that dog. Not through pain. Dog, your parents, your significant other would not want you to be in pain. But she came to me and she was really having a tough time. And I said, what would something that you can do? She said, I'm thinking about crocheting. I'm like, by all means, please go ahead. And she hasn't even finished her dog. Somebody said, hey, a friend dog passed away. She said, you know what, I'm gonna do my dog. Uh, the dog part just done, just the rest, but hasn't finished completely. But I'm gonna do one for my friend. And then that's how she connects. She stay connected, not through pain, but through purpose, through legacy.
Yeah, I like that, Dr. Bigot, connecting through purpose and things like that. For me, I had to, because I knew that there were wishes that my dad used to talk about, that the goals that he wanted to finish. So I had to finish his goals that he had left behind unfinished. So I had to do every piece of work for him, and I finished that. And I just realized that actually I just needed to hand him over to God and just live my life, and knowing that someday we will meet.
Yeah,
And yeah, so because we think that's why the Bible says, let the dead bury the dead. Because even when we cry for the dead, whatsoever, them, they don't want us to do that. They want us to celebrate them. They want us to move on and carry on with lives and create a legacy so they can be proud. So that's why I realized I was like, let me just look at the things that my dad wanted to do. He never finished them, so I just finished them, and
yeah,
and just move on with my life.
Yeah, exactly. Complete whatever that the person would love to do in and of course if you don't know how, if the person said I want to build a bridge and you have no idea how to build the bridge, then ask for support to build the bridge. If you want to create one client want to create a book, like a memory book that they can share just with the family and loved one. And she said, yeah, but I have no idea how to. I said, well, if it's a book, I happen to be able to help you because I've done many books. But allow yourself to tap in, and my heart goes out to you if you are in a lot of pain. I can only imagine how you feel, and just know that your loved one wants to stay connected with you, but not through pain.
Yeah, I've not met anyone who has grieved straightforward. Yeah, I've not met, but I think something has got to do because when I listen to people, and then now I'm watching myself for how I am. I think some of it is something to do with Satan because I think they cry. I don't think we are meant to cry for the dead, but we cry. When we cry, I think there's an energy we connect ourselves to, and that energy does not let us go. It actually let the grief drags on and drags on. Because I've realized now I don't cry for the dead. When someone if I receive the news about someone is dead, I don't cry anymore. And I find the grief is very, very quick. It's like I don't forget about them, but I think about the memories I spend with that person. And if it's someone that I know very well, I celebrate them. I talk to my children about the lives and stuff. Like my granddaddy died. I think I was doing exams. I didn't actually ignore his death, but I carried on with my exams, and I was like, he's gone because he's the one that coached me to be where I am today. But I was like, it's one of those days where he just I knew that he's going to heaven. He's not on earth because there are some that dies, but their souls you can see that their souls are wandering on earth. But with my granddad and some people, they go. I don't see their soul. I don't connect with their soul, which is good. But some you can see their soul are giving people problems because they have unfinished business on earth.
Yeah, yeah.
So what advice can you give Dr. Bigot to someone? I know it's 4 minutes past two. Words of encouragement to someone who is really, really struggling. Because when I talk about struggling, I know how it feels. I struggled a lot with the grief of my dad, and um, with my stepdad, I think because we had had so much, I think I was like, why does the world has to be like this? And I think when my dad died, that was it. I was like, that's it. I've had enough, and that was it. So, what advice can you give someone who feels that they don't know how to continue their next chapter without their loved ones?
Yeah, I would say my final thought is ask yourself honestly, does your loved one wants you to be in pain? And if the answer is no, and you are ready to not be in pain or even just start moving, if there is a part of you that say maybe not, I'm ready to not be in pain, even if it's just a maybe not, a tiny teeny maybe I'm willing to be willing, you're willing to be in less pain, then go for it. And if you don't know how, ask for help. It's like if you don't know how to build a house and you want to build a house, you need to ask for help. And if the help that you receive is not providing what it is that you want, because many people, the help that you receive is helpful for the moment, and then as you move forward you need different help. But if the help is yet that you are receiving, whatever support it is not providing what you need, by then keep looking for a different help. Don't give up. There is help if you continue reaching out, and therefore there is hope for you to be in less pain, so you can truly honor your loved one and not hiding in pain and using pain as a way to connect, because that's not what they deserve or what you deserve.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Biget. For me, I would just say become the living proof. The greatest memory is the person you become. So let your decision, relationships, and courage reflect the values you choose to carry forward. When others meet you, they need a piece of the one you love, alive, active, and blessings the world through you. So I think that is really, really important to live your life to the fullest and enjoying every memory that you and your loved ones created, and without making it wrong, whether you were closer to that person or you were not close to that person. Don't make anything wrong. Don't make your relationship wrong, because we don't choose how our relationship will look like with people, but we can all control how we love others. But how they love us, we can't control it. There are some people who suffer because they didn't have a relationship with that person. Celebrate it. Just say, well, someday we will meet and we'll have another relationship. When the trumpet comes, we will all sing together. So, guys, if you, Dr. Bigot, she's a grieving coach, guys. So, if you are grieving, either relationship or loss of someone or anything unmet hope, please do contact her. You can contact her direct on her social media. She has a website on the social media, or you can contact her through Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency or through me. And yeah, she's a grieving coach. So God bless everyone and live with grace.